with another discussion video, and this time I wanted to talk about reading double standards. I decided to look up the word double standard just to make this like as clean as possible as well. Although I feel like part of what I'm saying by this is hypocrisy, so that kind of thing. They're kind of the same, you know. I just like the term double standard a little bit better. So according to Wikipedia,
I just like their definition better.
Double standard is the application of different sets of principles for similar situations. So this is something I struggle with in my reading, and especially when I'm reviewing books or rating them. Over the last few years especially, I've noticed this more and more, and it's causing like conflicts, internal conflicts, when it comes to rating a book or reviewing it or talking about it here on my channel. And I don't know if it's because I'm putting my opinions out there on the internet, so I'm like trying to accommodate for dissenting opinions, or if I'm changing or seeing other people's opinions is influencing opinions I have. So the main thing I've noticed is that I will let certain authors and certain books get away with things that I wouldn't let other authors and books get away with. Similarly, which I'm not really going to address here, is that there are certain times if I see something in a movie or a TV show that I'll let slide that I wouldn't let happen in a book, or vice versa. I picked out a couple examples of this where hopefully I can explain what I deal with. One is alpha overbearing males, and somebody recently commented on my paranormal romance recommendations from a few years ago that they struggle with this in paranormal romance. So personally, especially as I have gotten older, I've had issues with like super aggressive alpha males, like big, beat on your chest, the kind of guy you would expect to read in most paranormals, in a lot of contemporary that's like motorcycle gang, or maybe like something that's an alpha type personality like a cop or a military officer. I'm not saying that all of those people in the world are like that. I just feel like a lot of times that's how they end up being portrayed in fiction. So in general, I dislike this kind of behavior. I dislike it in real life, and I dislike it in my fiction. So it tends to turn me off, and it makes me a little uncomfortable. Reading it in books like Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire, things like that, really bothers me. It especially bothers me in young adult and new adult, which I think, and that was what first initially caused me to start thinking about this idea as a discussion topic, is where things would bother me in young adult fiction but wouldn't bother me in adult fiction. And I think that's because whether or not people agree or think this is true, I think fiction is a huge learning tool. I think TV, movies, and books all influence the way people think, and I definitely wouldn't want like a 14-year-old girl reading, like, sorry to like keep talking about it, but it's really popular so I kind of have to, the Beautiful Disaster books, and thinking that they want a Travis in their life, because you don't. Like, he's gonna hit you in real life, and even if he doesn't, emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. But I tend to forgive this kind of behavior in paranormal romance. It seems to like just come along with the territory. I think it's because a lot of times you have characters who are other, so things like vampires, werewolves, anything like that. And it is getting harder and harder for me to come to terms with this in paranormal, but I find myself still forgiving it and just chalking it up to, oh, well, that's the genre, and not really holding it against the book. So that's example number one. Example number two is what I like to call lying, and I think cheating comes into here as well a little bit, but I very rarely come into cheating books that I'm okay with, so you know. But specifically what I'm talking about here is lying as like a plot device, because I tend to view it as kind of lazy writing. So that whole like characters just not talking to each other thing, it happens a ton in young adult and new adult, and it just it bothers me. I don't like lying in real life either. I don't like it when people lie to me, and I'm a horrible liar. Well, I dislike that, and I will rate books down for lying, like if that's the main like conflict between two characters. I'll also rate books high that have it. Lorraine Heath Like, her books have it all the time, and I love them. The Viscount and the Vixen, the Duke and the Lady in Red, is that what it's called? Yeah. Like, I think it's that one. It's one book in that series, I believe. It's that or a different one in the series. I don't know. Whatever. Tons of lying all over the place, lying being the main plot line. And I'm okay with it. Like, I give these books 5 stars and just am somehow okay with that. There have been other times and other situations where things like this have occurred as well. And it's something that I think about a lot when I'm reviewing and rating my books. These just happen to be some of the big ones and the ones that I feel like are really obvious, especially the alpha male thing, because people ask about it. But like I said, sometimes it can make my ratings and my reviews really hard. It can also make it really hard for me to recommend books because I don't know where people fall on this spectrum of like what's okay or not. I think the ability of writing, like the author's ability, also plays a role, which is valid as like an explanation for this, but doesn't really help me come to terms with this. Do you have problems with this? Like, are there certain situations where you find are like hard no's for you, or are you a little more fluid like I am? Am I crazy? Thank you so much for watching. Bye.